Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is August 11th, 2025. And bad news in regards to the Camp Nou, because there's currently delays in the construction. Also, John Laporta has given us an update in regards to the pending registrations. And finally, I'm going to give you an update in regards to Marc Bernal's recovery. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. This is the Barca News Live podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where not only do we discuss Barcelona news, but where I get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering any questions, and getting the discussion going live. And that is why the podcast days are always my favorite days. For those of you who will be watching when the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion and get straight into the news. Having said all that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. All this helps this channel continue to grow. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, like the new home kit or the new away kit, the Kobe version, make sure to hit the Goal Kits, Kit Bag, or Fanatics. Plenty of options there. If you want to place any sports bets, not just on Barcelona matches, but on any sporting event around the world, make sure to hit the Bet Us. If you use any of the links in the description, you get offers, discounts. Bet Us, I think, gives you like $150 free or $200 free. So use the links. And with that, let's begin with the news because, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to talk about. And as always, the first segment of this podcast is comprised with several bits of news combined together. It started with that today, the Royal Spanish Football Federation gave the green light for the Villarreal versus Barcelona match to be played in Miami. Now, this is something that Javier Tebas has been trying to do for quite some time. Has been trying to have some La Liga matches, or at least one La Liga match, be played in the U.S. as a way to generate more money and as a way to promote La Liga outside of Spain. In fact, this is the third time he tries it. The first time he tried it was back in September 11th, 2018, where Tebas tried to take the Girona versus Barcelona match to the U.S., but at the time, the Royal Spanish Football Federation, which was headed by Luis Rubiales, denied Javier Tebas' request because Luis Rubiales and Javier Tebas always had a problem. They always butted heads. Then, of course, Rubiales was pushed out of the Royal Spanish Football Federation after the whole scandal of him kissing one of the players from the Spanish national team, one of the female players from the Spanish national team when they won the World Cup. He kissed her on the mouth, so he was pushed out. So then Javier Tebas tried again. Again, this was last year. He tried to take the Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona match to the U.S. This time, he was denied by the interim president, Pedro Rocha. This is someone who they installed temporarily while they picked a new president. And now, for the third time, I guess the third time is a charm, Javier Tebas is once again trying to take a match to the U.S., this time the Villarreal versus Barcelona match, which is set to be played on December 20th weekend. And this time, the Royal Spanish Football Federation greenlit the operation. Now, this doesn't mean that it's final. Barcelona will play against Villarreal in the U.S. This still has to be approved by UEFA. And UEFA have up until 21 days before the match. So they have until November 30th to either greenlight or deny this move. If UEFA greenlights this move, then it has to be approved by CONCACAF, which is, the equivalent of UEFA for North and Central America, and it also has to be approved by the U.S. Federation, but I don't imagine CONCACAF or the U.S. Soccer Federation will object to this. So for now, we're waiting on UEFA. Again, they have until November 30th to decide. If everybody else green lights it, we'll see Barcelona play against Villarreal on December 20th in Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium, which is where the Dolphins play, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think they have a match on the 21st, or a game on the 21st of December. Now, I don't know whether I like this move or not. On one hand, I do live in the U.S., so I wouldn't mind seeing Barcelona playing an official match here. Plus, that would mean a lot more money for Barcelona than just playing at Villarreal. On the other hand, it's just, December. This is when we're already playing against the Champions League. The players are playing a match every 3-4 days, and then they're going to have to travel 9 hours in a plane to the U.S., adjust to the time zone, which is 6-hour difference. play the game, hop on a plane, fly all the way back again, 9 hours, readjust. I mean, it's just pretty exhausting. So on one hand, I would like to see it because I live here. On the other hand, I don't know if this might be a little bit too much for the players. But anyways, I do want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. What do you think about Barcelona playing the Villarreal match in Miami? Not to mention, by the way, Villarreal fans. I mean, imagine having season tickets, and this is one of the biggest matches, Villarreal versus Barcelona for your team, and then they tell you, oh, sorry, the match is going to be played in Miami. If you want to see it, you better buy a flight, hotel, and then pay the ridiculous U.S. prices, which I'm sure is going to be hundreds and thousands of dollars for these tickets. But anyways, on to the next bit of news, because Barcelona have confirmed something, or actually, I think it was Fabrizio Romano who confirmed something that I told you 2 or 3 weeks ago. So congratulations, Fabrizio. But Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Barcelona have hired João Amaral. Now, this is someone I told you about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Might have been even more, might have been a month. But João Amaral used to be the technical director of Rio Ave. It's a Portuguese club. He also worked with Deco at D20. That's the company that Deco worked at as a representative before he became Barcelona sporting director. So they know each other. And after the departure of the head of scouting of Barcelona, forgot his first name, but his last name is Araujo, not Ronald, a different Araujo. But Deco reached out to João Amaral, and he was like, hey, head of scouting position just opened up. You want to come? João Amaral said yes. He notified Rio Ave that he was going to be joining Barcelona. And now this move being made official that João Amaral will become the new head scouting of Barcelona, where, of course, his job will be to recognize young up-and-coming talent all around the world in Barcelona's and help Barcelona's effort to, try to sign these young, promising players for very little money, because, of course, it's a lot more economically feasible and it's a lot lower risk, right? If you spend 2-3 million on someone who's promising, it works out amazing. You just hit the jackpot. You just signed, a star for 2-3 million. If they don't work out, it doesn't matter. You're only out 2-3 million euros, which at the end of the day, you could probably recover them anyway, because you could sell that youngster somewhere else. Now, the last bit of news of this first segment is in regards to Marc Bernal, because, ladies and gentlemen, good news, because Bernal has received the medical clearance. As you know, Bernal suffered a very serious injury. He tore his ACL last September. He had to undergo a surgery, which meant that he missed the entire last season. And now he has officially received the medical clearance. He has already started training with the group with total normalcy. When players first get in surgery, first there's a phase where you just rest and heal. Then you start doing physical therapy in the pool, things like that, to help again start regaining, to help the healing and regain the muscle that was lost. And then you start working out in the gym by yourself. Then you start working out on the grass by yourself. And finally, you start working out with the group. Now, Marc Bernal, total medical clearance. He's back training with the group. Of course, the question is he going to actually get some minutes? Because medical clearance does not equate competitive clearance, right? Medical clearance means the doctors say you're good to go. Competitive clearance is the coach saying, and the trainers, should we or should we not? Now, Barcelona have kind of a policy where a player has this kind of surgery that they wait 365 days from the day of the surgery. So that will be in September. But right now, Flick is going to be up to Flick to decide whether he gives them a few minutes before or whether he's going to wait until the 365 days have elapsed. This would be, of course, out of precaution to make sure the player doesn't get re-injured. Now, if they do wait the full 365 days, that means Bernal could be available for the Valencia match. That's the 4th fixture of La Liga. That's when, after the international break, we're playing against Mallorca, Levante, I can't remember the third team. And then we take a FIFA international break. And then the 4th fixture is against Valencia, which will be the first home match of the season. That's when Bernal will be coming back if Barcelona decide to wait the full 365 days, which, I hope they do, because at the end of the day, there's no rush, right? Why rush it? He had a serious injury, serious surgery. Let's take our time with him. And I'm pretty sure that's what Flick is going to end up doing. All right, let's do the comment section, and then we are going to talk about the Camp Nou. Since I just mentioned the Valencia match, that's the match where Barcelona hope to be back at the Camp Nou. But let's talk about the Camp Nou after we do some comments. Let's see. Justice Boyo says, hello, Mo. Justice Boyo from the Gambia. I'm so pleased with the team on the preseason tour, scoring 20 goals in 4 games. I hope the boys build more potential and strength to compete highly. Visca Barca. Visca Barca, my friend. And yes, definitely, the preseason was very good. 20 matches, with only 4 goals conceded. I mean, that's for every goal conceded, we scored 5 in return. And that's very, very important. It's something I talked about a lot before. People, always talk about, oh, the defense, we concede. I always said, look, we're always going to concede under this system. When you attack with all 11 players, you're going to be left exposed. You're going to concede. The important thing is that you score more. After all, that's why Johan Cruyff used to say, if they score 4 goals, we score 5. And in this case, if they score 1, we score 5, because it's been 1 conceded. For every conceded goal, we've scored 5. And that's, of course, very important. It shows that this team is continuing to assimilate and learn the Hansi Flick system and improve upon it, and that's going to be very important to be able to compete for all trophies. And also, people might say, oh, well, it's the preseason, who cares? It's FC Seoul, it's Daegu, it's Vissel Kobe, it's Como. True, those are not the strongest opponents, but it's not about whether we beat them or not, it's how we beat them. And the how is very, very important, because the how was, well, Barcelona implementing Hansi Flick's system, Hansi Flick's ideas, playing as a cohesive unit with the high press, with the quick transitions, with the maintaining possession. I mean, the team, it's not just that they beat those teams, but they beat those teams by, implementing the Flick strategy, which worked all last season. And if the players continue to implement it and improve upon it, it's only going to work more and more. So really good preseason. Of course, it doesn't mean that that's it, we're going to win every single trophy, but it is definitely a good precursor that shows that this team is learning more and more Flick system and continue to implement it in a really good way on the field. McCoy says, Mo, I have to admit, I didn't agree with you when it came to Dani Olmo, but I have to agree now, we didn't need him. What a waste of money. We had enough number 10s. 100%. I always maintain that since the day we signed Olmo, and I always used to say, hey, it's not about Olmo. Olmo's a great player. Don't get me wrong. And people, for some reason, they never understood that point. They was like, why do you talk about Olmo's good, blah, blah. I was like, yo, I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying we don't need him, because we had so many midfielders. We had Fermin Lopez, right? Free. He didn't cost us a single penny. He came through the academy. And then we go spend 60 million. For a position that was super stacked. And it's like, why? Because we had to sign someone. I don't know why there's this like need amongst the fans where Barcelona has to sign someone, otherwise it's a failed window. And it's like, no, you don't have to sign someone. If you don't need anyone, then there's no need to sign someone, right? And we did not need an attacking midfielder. We needed a left winger. We tried to sign Nico. It didn't work out. And instead of saying, okay, fine, it didn't work out, let's look for a different left winger. Or if there aren't any good left wingers, fuck it, let's just close the market and move on. No, we have to sign someone. So let's go sign Dani Olmo, our 20th attacking midfielder. That totally makes sense, right? It's like, I don't understand this obsession with having to sign someone. You don't always have to sign someone. If you don't need anyone, why? Why sign someone? Uzi Blaz says, always good news on Monday. I don't know if the next news is good, but the Bernal one was good, right? Joao Amaral, I don't know. I guess we'll see how he does. But the next news is definitely not good. Marcus says, Mo, I'm worried that we're hyping these results from the preseason too much. We didn't play even one top tier. What are your thoughts? So I just mentioned it. Again, it's not that we beat those teams. It's how we beat them with clear ideas. I mean, this team knows what they're doing on the field. And it's clear that they have totally assimilated Flick's idea, and you see it. Everybody knows their role. Everybody works together. And everybody knows what to do on the field. And that's very, very important, because that's the only way you can compete, is by having a clear identity, by knowing what to do and how to work as a cohesive unit. Something that we lacked under Xabi. Under Xabi was 11 individual players all doing whatever they wanted to do on the field. Under Flick, we saw last season that wasn't the case. And that's why we went from not winning a single trophy under Xabi's last season to boom, all of a sudden we win 3 trophies and we were semifinals in the Champions League. And this team during the preseason showed once again that they still know exactly what they need to do on the field. They have clear idea of what the system is, how to implement it, and how to succeed within it. And that's very important. Again, it's not about who we beat or how many goals we beat them. It's how we beat them. And that's very, very important. As I've always said, I don't care. I don't just care about whether we win or lose. It's how. And that's very, very important. People forget about that, right? They're like, oh, we won, so who cares? No, it matters. Because if you are winning by playing like shit and getting lucky the last few minutes, you get a lucky shot or one of your players just, takes the ball and runs, that eventually is going to catch up with you. You're going to run out of your luck. And that happened in Barca, right? We win the season under Xabi. Everybody's like, oh, we're the best. And I'm like, no, we're not. We look like trash. What are you guys are even celebrating? And lo and behold, the following season caught up to us. We ran out of our luck ran out. We didn't win a single trophy. Instead, we got humiliated left and right. We got thrashed by Athletic Club de Bilbao. We got thrashed by Girona twice. We got thrashed by Villarreal. We got thrashed by Real Madrid. And I was like, there you go. That's why the how is important. Or you can lose a match, but lose it by playing great. And then eventually your bad luck is going to run out. And then you're going to start winning. Against Atletico Madrid last season, perfect example. We lose 2-1, or was it 2-1, 3-1? I can't remember the last match of the first half of the season, but we played 10 times better than them. We just got unlucky. Guess what? That luck ran out. The second half of the season, we played absolutely amazing. We won 3 trophies. So the how is very, very important. Very, very important. Shin, my man, with the generous donation, says, I'd really like to see a better opponent in the Gamper, similar to Community Shield. If we win La Liga, we invite CDR winner. If we win both, we invite League or CDR runner-up. Pipe dream, I know, but I'd still prefer it. So the invitee for the Joan Gamper has to do a lot with the schedule of the team. Sure, it would be nice to see maybe Liverpool or Man City or something like that. But the problem is that those teams are also having their own preseasons. So it's usually about availability, right? So that's why, and that's how usually are chosen. As far as, the winner of the Copa del Rey, that's what the Spanish Super Cup is for, right? Which I think it's going to be the same opponents. I think Atletico Madrid, Athletic Club de Bilbao, Barca, and Madrid. I think so. I could be wrong, but anyways. Thank you again, my friend, for your generous donation. And with that, let's move on to the next bit of news. And the next bit of news is not a good one because it's in regards to the Spotify Camp Nou, because there's more delays, and it has to do with the initial inspection that the Camp Nou just underwent. Now, as you know by now, the original plan number 7, I guess it's not original anymore, was to return to the Camp Nou by the Joan Gamper Trophy match, which was yesterday, August 10th. But then the city they did an inspection. They're like, well, what are you guys talking about? This stadium is not even close to being done. So no permits. And as such, Barcelona had to withdraw their official announcement that they were going to go back to the Joan Gamper. And then they went back to the drawing board because the plan is, of course, to return by using the first 2 rings, which you see here in the picture. There's the 2 rings. Those are the 2 original rings. Those are completely have been fitted with new seats. The field has been fitted with new grass. Obviously, the 3rd ring still being built. So the plan was to use both rings until the stadium is fully completed. Now, those 2 rings can host 62,000 people. And Barcelona realized those 2 rings are not going to be ready by the September 14th deadline, which is the match against Valencia, the first official home match of the season, or the 4th fixture of this La Liga. So they went back to the drawing board. They figured out, okay, if we cannot open both rings by that September 14th, because they're not going to be ready, how can we still return to the Camp Nou without having to open both rings? So instead, they come up with a phase plan where the first phase is only going to host 27,000 people. The second phase, it would go up to 45,000 people. And by the 3rd phase, both rings would be ready to host the 62,000 people. So that would give Barcelona more margin. That would allow Barcelona to return by the weekend that they're hoping to return to, which is the Valencia weekend, while at the same time giving themselves margin to continue working on the 2 rings and then eventually being able to use the entire 2 rings for this season. So they came up with this plan. They negotiated with the city. The city was like, okay, cool, that's fine. We'll roll with it. They made an exception, of course, because usually to get the occupancy permit, either everything is done or you don't get the permit. But here the city worked with Barcelona and said, okay, fine. I get you need to go back to the stadium. We'll work with you as long as you have phase 1 sections ready, which is Tribuna Sur and Tribuna. So it's the south part behind the goal and one of the sides. Fine. We'll work with you. We'll give you the permit only for that phase. Well, in order for that to happen, Barcelona, of course, need to undergo several inspections to make sure only those parts that are going to host 27,000 people are ready for this for the Valencia weekend. And the inspection happened. It turns out there were 200 deficiencies. The inspectors found 200 things wrong with those 2 sections They're going to host 27,000 people. So now Barcelona not only need to finalize those two zones, but now they also need to fix all the deficiencies that the inspectors found before they can get the permits in order to reopen those two sections for the Valencia match on a September 14th weekend. So this is definitely bad news because now it's more work, right? You have to finish those two sections, and then you also have to finish the 200 deficiencies. That really puts Barcelona in a bind, and now Barcelona are racing against time. And now it was already they were already racing against time to get those two sections ready. And now you add to that the 200 deficiencies, and that's just going to be more and more work. And Barcelona need to be back at the Camp Nou by that weekend. Otherwise, if they're not ready by that weekend, they're going to have to find another stadium last minute. And if they do, remember, Champions League, you cannot change stadiums until group stages are over. So that means not only finding a stadium last minute, but that also means being in that stadium until the group stages are over, which is not until next January, maybe February of 2026. Not to mention, Laporta said this in an interview, if Barcelona are not back at the Camp Nou by this season, they're going to have to completely renegotiate and restructure all the loan deals that they have with Goldman Sachs for the financing of this renovation. So Barcelona really need to be back at the stadium by that weekend. And now with the 200 deficiencies, it's definitely a race against the clock. Now, John Laporta was asked about the Camp Nou after the Joan Gamper Trophy match, and this is what the president had to say. We are doing everything we can to return, working with the city council. It will get better and better, and we'll see if we can return soon. So, not saying much, I'm just using words to make the situation sound a little better. Like, oh, it's gonna get better and better. Well, of course, it's going to get better and better. It's a fucking construction project. If you have a construction project where things are getting worse and worse, then you really fucked up. But not really much there. But the return to by September 14th is definitely going to be tight. I really hope that we do, for all the reasons I just mentioned. Having to look for another stadium last second, having to play in that stadium until January or February, restructuring the loans, all of that. I think it's going to be, is not going to be beneficial to the club. So I really hope so. But at this point, I don't truly believe any timelines they give us. Remember, they told us November of last year, then December, then February, then April, then May, then August. Now even September is in doubt. So at this point, I've adopted a new policy. When it comes to this board of executives, see it to believe it. That's my policy. If the board tells me tomorrow is that it's going to happen, I'm like, sorry, I don't believe you. And then tomorrow comes and it happens. I was like, all right, cool. I believe you now. That's my new policy with this board. I got to see it with my own eyes to believe it. At this point, I don't believe anything. So let's hope and pray we'll be back by September 14th weekend. But again, I'm not holding my breath. All right, let's do more comments, and then we are going to talk about more Laporta statements because he's giving us an update in regards to registrations. And Shin, who's now a member for 15 months. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, my friend, for all the support you give this channel. But Shin says, seriously, from now on, I'm just going to go on like we're never going back to the Camp Nou. That way, if or when it ever happens, it'll be a big surprise and I won't constantly be disappointed. Yeah, I think with this board, I've learned to keep my expectations as low as possible. If it can be non-existent, even better, because otherwise you're just setting up yourself for disappointment, And it's not about how long the stadium is taking. I had some people comment on a different video that I made about, like, oh, Mo, like, of course it's gonna take long, like, blah, blah. I'm like, it's not about that. It's about the lives, right? I understand that this is gonna take long. This is a massive, massive project. This is not just let's slap a fresh coat of paint and then switch out some seats and some lights and make it look pretty. No, this is like a total construction project, right? They demolished that entire third ring. They refurbished the first two rings, and now they're building a whole new structure around those two rings and a whole new ring, a third one, and a structure that supports it, right? And they have to even dig to build a foundation for that structure. They even building an underground parking lot. Like, it's a massive, massive project. Of course, it's going to take a very long time. And it's going to take as long as it needs to take, right? This is nothing it's not something you can rush. It's impossible. Plus, you don't want to rush it, right? Because you don't want to have, corners being cut and then things go wrong. So it's going to take as long as it needs to take. I know it's going to take a very long time. I'm not in a rush to go back. I understand that when the stadium is done, it will be one of the best stadiums, if not the best stadium in the world. It's going to be a gold mine as far as revenue. So that's not the problem. It's not how long the stadium is taking. It's the lies. Like, there's no need to lie. There's no need to tell us it's going to be November and then December and then February and then April, then May, then August, and now September. There's no need for that. Just keep your mouth shut. Let everybody do the work. And once everybody's done, once a construction company tells you, hey, you're ready to host people, once you've passed all the inspections and the city and the police and the fire department and the district and everybody's telling you, you're good to go, here are the permits, here's the paperwork, then you announce it. Because now you know for sure, because you have the paperwork in hand, you've passed the inspections, they've told you, why the lies? That's the problem. No need. There's really no need. We all understand this is a big project and we're all, willing to wait. No need to lie. Let me see. Alexei says, I'm not sure that I even necessarily want this, but what would you think about Piqué running for club president? He seems to be doing a good job at Andorra, depending on his idea, I'd consider it. I mean, honestly, I don't know what he's doing at Andorra, so I can't really say whether he's doing a good job. I know they got promoted to second division. I know he owns it. I don't know if he's running it. Owning and running are two different things. Let me see. Andorra Football Club. FC Andorra. It's not Andorra FC. It's FC Andorra. FC Andorra Executive Board. Let's see. Yeah, he's not the president. The president is Ferran Vilaseca. That's the board of so yeah, owning and actually running it is completely different thing, right? So I don't know if he truly is doing a good job. Maybe he's just doing a good job investing in it or just being the owner of it, but he's not running it. So I don't know. I don't know if he would be good or not. I would prefer that he would have experience. Maybe if he joined the board as a member of it and then get some experience running the club before becoming a president, I think that would be a better route versus just running for president straight. But I don't know. Paul says, Mo, if they end up playing in Miami, will you consider taking a trip down to Miami for seeing that match? I definitely will head that way since I'm based in Orlando, so I can take the train there. Probably not. And I'll tell you why. A, I don't like Miami. I'm sorry if anyone watching me from Miami, but I don't like Miami. But B, and this is the more important reason, American greed means that these tickets are going to be expensive. I mean, preseason matches, which are friendlies in the US, are already ridiculously expensive. You're talking about like $400 or $500 for nosebleeds, right? And if you want good seats, you're talking about $1,000, $2,000 for really good seats. And that's for friendlies. Can you imagine what an official La Liga match is going to cost? It's going to cost an arm and a leg. And for that money, I could go to Barcelona. It'd be a lot cheaper for me to go to Barcelona than to go to Miami. Because flights from New York to Barcelona are actually almost the same price as flights from New York to Miami. So right there, same thing. Hotels are cheaper in Barcelona than they are in Miami. And the game in Barcelona is going to be way cheaper than the game in Miami. So you actually end up saving money if you go to Barcelona to watch the game rather than go to Miami and do it. And again, I'm just not a big fan of Miami. Mike says, hey, Mo, I'm a big Laporta fan, but like you, I've lost trust in what he says lately. For this, I strongly believe that the season will start and Rashford will not be registered. Let me say this. I don't understand when people say they're fans of Laporta or whomever. Because are you a fan of the people in the club or are you a fan of the club? And I'm not talking to you directly. I'm just saying in general. I'll never understand that. I'm a fan of the club itself as an institution. The people that come and go within that institution, the presidents, board of directors, coaches, players, those are just people that are here and there. Those people I'll support for as long as they're doing a great job. The moment they stop doing a good job, I'm like, get the fuck out. Because I'm a fan of the club. I'm not a fan of Laporta. I'm not a fan of any of the board of directors. I like Flick, but if Flick starts fucking up, I'm going to be like, dude, bye. Same goes for any players, right? Because I don't believe in being a fan of the people within the club because they're just there, right? They're just there for a few years and then they're gone. The institution itself, that's what's been there for 125 years. And our institution is only going to continue to be there and going to continue to thrive and be great for as long as the people in it do a good job. So as long as those people are doing a good job, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Because they're helping to maintain the institution, FC Barcelona, and maintain its greatness. But the moment they start fucking up, you need to get the fuck out because now you're hurting the institution, which I'm a fan of. Laporta, those people, I don't give two shits about. If they do a good job, great. If not, bye. Because I'm a fan of FC Barcelona, not of whoever is running it. Let's see what else. Tamba says, hi Mo, good evening. Tamba Jaya from Sierra Leone. Thank you for your good job. No, thank you, my friend, for watching and for your comment. And with that, let's talk about John Laporta, since we just mentioned the president. Now, after the Joan Gamper Trophy match, John Laporta gave, he answered a lot of questions. And one of them was about the registrations. Now, as you know, right now, there are 5 players who are yet to be registered. Joan Garcia, Wojciech Szczesny, Marcus Rashford, Gerard Martin, who will now become a first-team player. Excuse me. And finally, Rooney Bargi. Now, Rooney Bargi is technically a Barca Athletic signing, so I don't think that's going to be a problem because he's going to be registered as a Barca Athletic player, which is not very difficult to do. But, of course, the other 4 are yet to be registered. Now, John Laporta was asked about the registrations. Hey, what's going on? Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And, well, this is what the Barcelona president had to say. Wait, there we go. That was the previous statement about the Camp Nou. John Laporta says, with Marc's decision, we hope to register Joan if the Liga Medical Committee gives the go-ahead. We're working on the rest. It can't be on the first match day. We have time. So it looks like now that Marc ter Stegen has agreed to sign the medical authorization, and now that Barcelona have sent the medical paperwork to La Liga committee, John Laporta and Barcelona expect to register Joan Garcia. Now, the medical committee are set to give an answer either tomorrow, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So either one of those days, we'll find out whether the committee is going to greenlight this or not. And if they do, it seems like Joan Garcia will be the first to register, which is good. That's good news. By the way, second time Marc ter Stegen helps register a goalkeeper. The first time in 2023, he agreed to reduce his salary so Barcelona could register Iñaki Peña. Like, he's a rat, he's terrible, he's the worst, blah, blah, blah. Remember that. But here's the problematic part. The second statement. We're working on the rest. If it can't be on the first match day, we have time. In other words, I don't give a fuck. We'll try to register the rest. If it works out, great. And if not, fuck them. We have time. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying that Joan Laporta, once again, he has signed players with no plan in place on how to register them. And people are like, what are you talking about? How would you know? You don't work at the club. You don't know if they have a plan. Do these sound like the statements of someone who has a plan? And the answer is no. We're working on it. We'll see if by a first match day, great. If not, we have. That's not someone who has a plan. That's someone who is improvising. Let's see if we can register next week. No, we'll try the next one. Maybe next one. What happened if Marc ter Stegen didn't get injured? How is Joan Garcia going to be registered? The club just happened to get lucky with Marc ter Stegen's injury, and now they get to register Joan Garcia. But guess what? We still have other players. We'll figure it out. If they're registered by first day, great. If not, fuck them. Right? Last summer, same thing. Dani Olmo, Pau Victor. We signed them. No plan on how to register them. We get lucky with Andreas Christensen's injury, and then they get registered for half of the season after the season had already begun. And then, winter comes. You had 5 months to figure out how to register them. Fuck it. We have time. Oh, wait, shit, we don't. We have a few days. Let me fly to the Middle East and sell these seats so we can register them. Oh, wait, too late still. So now they start the second half of the season and register. What the fuck is this? Someone explain to me who runs one of the biggest clubs in the world like this. And it's Joan Laporta. That's who. Someone who just improvises, has no fucking plan whatsoever, and just goes day by day like he's running a lemonade stand on the corner. And then people wonder, why do you get so bad? Why do you hate Laporta? Well, look at this shit and tell me this is normal. Do you think Florentino Perez runs Real Madrid like this? The answer is fuck no. Nobody does. This is not okay. This is not normal. And you should stop normalizing it because this is not normal. No multi-billion-dollar corporation or company or institution should be ran like this. Period. But I'm the crazy one. Anyways. Now, he was asked about Marc Ter Stegen. And this is what John Laporta said. With Ter Stegen, we're looking forward. Marc is our captain. What was there is already fixed. He was excellent in his speech, and the fans needed to see the captain leading the way. Marc has been at Barca for 11 years. He's a great person, and I'm happy he's back as captain. Now, John Laporta says that it's been fixed. I don't know what he's talking about because the problem was never the medical report. The problem is Barcelona need Ter Stegen out in order to remove his salary, in order to be able to register players, in order to be to rejuvenate the goalkeeping position. So that's the medical report was never the problem. I think, like I said, when Ter Stegen announced that he has signed it, I was like, that's not really a victory for the club because all he's doing is pushing the can, kicking the can down the road. Because okay, now Joan Garcia is registered, great, and then December we're back in square one, figuring out how to register him again. So that's not really a true victory. A true victory is figuring out a way for Marc Ter Stegen to leave the club amicably. That's the true victory. But of course, Laporta, he signed the medical authorization. We'll figure out the rest later. Who cares? Who gives a shit? And then, he's talking about, oh, he's a great person. He's been here for 11 years. Maybe you should have thought about that before you launched that nasty campaign on Twitter with the hashtag Matt's out. But, fuck him too, right? Who cares if we destroy his reputation and turn the fans against him? We'll go day by day. And then John Laporta was asked about Íñigo Martínez, and this is what the Barcelona president had to say. Deco already said we had 5 center backs and that one had to leave. I think Íñigo made a decision for his family because he's 34. He came without a transfer fee, and we already talked about letting him go if there was an opportunity like this. So John Laporta kind of confirming that there wasn't truly a gentleman agreement with Íñigo where if a good offer comes for him, he would leave for free, which I've said a million times. I think that's stupid. I'm glad the Barcelona honored their word, but why enter into that agreement to begin with? Okay, yeah, he came for free, but it's not like he played for free. We paid him a very high salary because he came for free. Because as I've always said, no player really comes for free. If a player doesn't have a transfer fee, they make that up and either requesting a signing bonus or requesting a really high salary because they're like, oh, well, you didn't have to spend money on a transfer fee, right? So you have more money in your pocket. You're going to spend it on me now. You're going to give me a transfer fee, a transfer signing bonus, and you're going to give me a higher salary. In the case of Íñigo, it was in the form of a higher salary, right? He earned 14 million euros gross, which is a lot for a defender. So it's not like he played for free. He made his money. He made a really high salary because he came for free. So why not try to get some money off his transfer? But anyways, let's do the comment section. And then we are going to talk about Fermin Lopez. Shamar says, I don't understand why Coutinho isn't in the best 11 team. Also, how on earth Yamal is a forerunner for the Ballon d'Or ahead of Coutinho. Like, what are we doing as fans? I get Yamal is super good. But, I mean, why wouldn't you? Lamine Yamal is Lamine Yamal, right? And if you want to bring up the numbers, yeah, Rafinha had better numbers. It's like I tell all the Madridistas are always like, oh, Lamine and his goals. The Ballon d'Or is not a numbers game. The Ballon d'Or is given to the best player. It's not the Golden Boot, right? Madridistas are always like, oh, Yamal has this many goals. It's not the fucking Golden Boot. It's not a goals race. It's not the guy who has the most goals wins the Ballon d'Or. It's given to whoever is best. And yes, Rafinha had much better numbers than Lamine, but who is better as a player? Lamine is miles ahead. This is not to take away anything from Rafinha did. He had an absolutely spectacular season, amazing numbers. That's why I named him Coutinho. But who's better? It's Lamine Yamal. Momo says, hi, Mo. I'm glad to be part of your Today podcast. I will always watch news. Thanks so much for the update. I'm from Gambia, Bisca Barca. Bisca Barca, my friend. And my man, Choo Choo, says, Mo, Fermin's level isn't Omo. You're not winning big games with Fermin. Rewatch yesterday's game and tell me again. Bray says, regarding Olmo, after Xabi brought Fermin up, we couldn't go into the season with only Pedri potentially playing the cam role. Gabi was out. Flick uses the cam. So I see why we got a cam. Rafinha could play in that position. Gabi was actually already, well, he was, I think, a month or two away from being back. We had Pablo Torre. Bernal was still healthy, so he could have played there in the back with Frankie, with Pedri also being able to play in that position. We had options. We definitely did not need Olmo. Let's see. Prey says, plus Fermin went to the Euros and the Olympics, so we couldn't just plan to throw him in. Flick didn't think Pablo Torre wasn't good enough to get minutes. Fermin did go to both, but he mostly played the Olympics. In the Euros, he was mostly a sub. Let's see. What else? Shadow Promax says we should start calling this board fake till you make it, because that's all they seem to do. I mean, at this point, like I said, I gotta see it to believe it. Otherwise, I don't believe it. Shin says Barcelona and Villarreal will be looked at as imports, and Trump will tear the shit out of the match. Yeah, that's if he doesn't deport all the darker skin players. I can see the Barcelona team pulling up and then Ice right there, but like, all right, let's see. Joan Garcia, you're good. You're in the stadium. Kunde, you're getting deported. Kubarsi, you're good to go, bro. Balde, you're getting deported. Pedri, Frankie, you guys are good. Rafinha, deported. Rashford, deported. Lamine, deported. And then it's like Barcelona gonna have to play with a bunch of subs because Trump just deported all the dark-skinned ones. Let's see. Anthony says, hi, Mo. Good evening. I'm Anthony Williams from Sierra Leone. You are doing a good job for us as a fan. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you for watching and for your comment. And Big Flex says, honestly, I'm starting to think Nico actually wanted to come but didn't want to deal with the registration issues. If you see his performance, he looks unmotivated and uninterested. I actually haven't seen his performance. And I can't say for sure. I don't know if he truly was coming and then he was like, all right, never mind. I don't want any part of this. Or if he just used Barcelona to get a better deal with Athletic Bilbao. Well, either way, there's no point in pondering on why he did or didn't come. At the end of the day, he didn't. So now we just got to look forward. And Paul says, hate to say this, but sounds like a procrastinating problem and that never good. Yeah, because, again, there's no plan in place. But with that, let's get back to the news. Let's do the last bit of news, and then we'll do a lot more comments. And the last bit of news is in regards to Fermin Lopez, the MVP of yesterday's match, where Barcelona defeated Como 5-0 with 2 goals by Fermin Lopez. 2 incredible goals by Fermin Lopez, both from outside the box. Very similar to the goal he had the previous preseason. I don't know if you guys remember, but against Real Madrid, he scored from outside the box. I actually watched that match. I watched it here at the MetLife. I saw that goal. Was it that last summer? Was it the one before? No, I'm pretty sure it was last summer. But anyways, that's not the point. Fermin Lopez, who won the Joan Gamper MVP Ugly Ass Star Trophy, did have some statements after the match. Because as you know, lately Fermin Lopez has been linked a lot with other teams. We know Manchester United are willing to shell out a lot of money for him. We know Chelsea was interested. We know Bayern Munich was interested. There's a lot of teams who have been after Fermin Lopez. And of course, every time these rumors came out, I told you time and time again, look, Fermin is not looking to leave. The club is not looking to sell him. Flick considers Fermin Lopez an incredibly important player. So there's, all those clubs could be as interested as they want to, but it's just not going to happen. And yesterday, Fermin Lopez was once again asked, hey, what's going on? Are you leaving? Are you not leaving? And while this is what the Barcelona midfielder had to say, it was a great game from the whole team, and it will be good for us. Hard work is non-negotiable, and the pressure is high. Just like last year when we did very well, we'll have to keep it up. I want to stay here. It's my dream, and I'll stay. I'm happy to help the team. Many things have been said, but I'm going to continue defending these colors and working as hard as anyone. The culés can rest easy. So, as clear as daylight, I want to stay here. It's my dream, and I will stay. So it doesn't get any clearer than that. Fermin Lopez pretty much putting an end to all the rumors that he's leaving at Man U, that he's leaving here, he's leaving there, saying, I'm staying, I'm not leaving. So culés, you can rest easy. And of course, Fermin Lopez, I'm glad he's staying. I think he is making and continues to make a very strong case that he should be starting ahead of Dani Olmo. And I agree with that. Like I've said a million times, is Dani Olmo more talented than Fermin? Absolutely. Talent-wise, yes. But remember, football is not just about talent. It's also about performance, right? And I always use the same example, and I'll use it again. Joao Felix, incredibly talented player. It didn't work out because he didn't perform. That's why he's in Saudi. That's why he has failed at every club that he's played at since he left Benfica, right? Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Chelsea twice, AC Milan, and now he's in Saudi because it's not just about talent. It's also about putting that talent to work and performing. And talent-wise, yes, Dani Olmo is more talented than Fermin. Performance-wise, not even close. And for starters, Dani Olmo, he sneezes, gets injured. And, Fermin Lopez has much better longevity, and you see Fermin Lopez is just a lot more motivated on the field. Now, if Dani Olmo can stay healthy, then yeah, I would say put Dani Olmo ahead of him. But so far, Fermin Lopez just been giving us way better performances than Dani Olmo. All right, that is all the news for this podcast. Let's do some comments, and then we will end this. Big Flex Papa said we got spoiled with Messi and Ronaldo winning both the Golden Boot and Ballon d'Or. Indeed. Ania says, what is your choice on how to run Barca? How do you improve the team without signing players and forcefully ending some contract? I think Laporta is doing a great job with a little luck. I'm not saying he's doing a bad job on everything, but there's a lot of questionable things with Laporta. There's a lot of questionable things with Laporta. And by the way, this whole fallacy that you can only criticize if you can offer a better solution. I mean, again, that's a silly argument. I guess like going to a restaurant and they bring you food and you taste it and you're like, this is crap. And so you complain and they're like, well, can you cook a better plate? Otherwise, you have to eat it. It's like, what? You go to the movie theater, you watch a movie, the movie sucks. Oh, wait, but can you make a better movie? No, you can't. So you can't complain about the movie. Super Ice says, yep, and also almost slowed down Dro and Danny from coming into the first team, and best we saw him next season or so because bro like last man. And Shin says, I'm officially naming this year's Barcelona Champions League campaign as the race for the Seis. I like that, actually. That's catchy. Oh my God. I gotta sneeze again. Oh man, my allergies have been kicking my butt all day. Romain says his first banger against Madrid was 2 summers ago. You're right. It was 2 summers ago. I'm confusing my summers. I watched that game live that same summer, and then Dembele left for PSG. You're right. It was 2 summers ago. It wasn't last summer. But yeah, same thing. Right outside the box. I feel like Fermin is probably one of the very few players that can make those shots from outside the box. Let's see. Hamad Hassan says, hey Mo, out of the topic, what's your take on the issue between Gabi and Fermin? I have no idea what's going on. I've heard something about their girls are mad at each other and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I don't know anything because I don't care about that kind of stuff. Whatever happens in the player's personal life is not of interest of me. And, let the players do whatever the hell they want in their personal life. I care about what they do on the field, right? That's why, I never report about these things. Like, for example, when Piqué got divorced because he cheated on Shakira with this other girl, it's like, I don't really care. I'm not going to come here and talk about, Piqué cheated on his wife. Or when Ter Stegen, when he broke up with his wife, I also don't care. Again, I'm just here to talk about the players on the field, what happens in their personal life. I don't really care unless, of course, it affects their performance on the field. Then that becomes a problem. If they're out there partying until 4 or 5 in the morning when the next day they have a Champions League match, obviously that is important, right? But whatever they're dating, whoever they're dating and not dating, and I saw all these headlines about there's this apparently Argentinian singer, Nick and Nicole, who was at the match, and now oh, is she dating Lamine? Is Lamine dating her? Are they dating each other? Who gives a shit? But anyways, Modo says, "Hi Mo, I'm worried. Did Kunde late again for something because of not started because of no you know, Flick was trying things out. You know, he tried out Rashford in the first half, then he tried out Ferrari in the second half. He had Kunde, he had Eric one half, he had Kunde the other, right? He had Gerard Maldini, and then eventually brought in. Did he bring in Christensen? He did, right? Or he didn't do it? I can't remember. Wait, did Gerard Martin start? Who started next to QRC? Oh, it was Araujo. Yeah, but then Araujo came out. I mean, it's a preseason match, right? You try different things, but I don't think it was anything to do with Kunde being late. I mean, the whole preseason they were switching players in and out. Let's see. Let me go back and see. Joshua says, Mo, so what is the point of selling or letting Leo Messi go when we still have this financial issue over 3 years now? The Messi thing, La Liga told Barcelona, you can't renew him. It's impossible. And that's why we had to let him go, because Messi was earning 100 million per season. And there was no way that Barcelona could afford to renew his contract. There was no way. It was just too much money. So I don't blame Laporta for that. I know that some people do. I know Messi does, for example. I think Laporta's hands were absolutely tied. He had literally just came into the club, and he had, we knew the situation was bad, but nobody knew to the extent of how bad it was. And that included Laporta, right? When he takes over, he knows it's bad, but he didn't know how bad it was. So he thought, he could renew Messi, obviously with Messi agreeing to lower the salary. Then Barcelona hire an external auditor, an accounting firm, who comes in and does a full audit of all Barcelona's finances. They go through every single receipt, bank statement, bank account, every single expenditure. And that obviously takes months, right? You have to go through everything. Months after this firm is hired, they finally produced a report of Barcelona's finances. And that's when we all realized that not only was things bad at Barcelona, but things were absolute shit. And they were much worse than anyone could have imagined. And at that point, that's when La Liga tells Barca, dude, there's no way. There's just no way you can afford this. It's like, it's thinking like, I think I have decent credit and I think I have some savings. So maybe I'll be able to buy that car. Then you go to apply a loan and turns out your credit score is like 400. And you thought you had saved up 10,000, but you only have like $100. And you're like, oh shit, wait, never mind. And the bank is like, yeah, we're not going to approve you for a loan, bro. Sorry. Let's see. John says, it's so clear that we can't rely on Olmo and Lewa. How the fuck are they both getting injured when the season has not started? It's not a good sign. We should cash in on Olmo next summer. I mean, it happens. It happens. Injuries are not always due to exhaustion, right? Sometimes it's just something goes bad wrong in training. Something goes bad or wrong in a match. Sometimes maybe you don't stretch a muscle like you were supposed to stretch it. Injuries are not always a result of exhaustion. Sometimes it just happen. You do a wrong movement, you stretch your leg too much. It's not always about exhaustion. Marcel says, Mo, don't you think it's bad, messed up to attack the president knowing that Barcelona has an income problem? The only way to then make more income is going back to the stadium or leverage. I don't understand what those two have anything to do together. So because we have an income problem, I should ignore the bad things that the president is doing. How does that make any sense? I don't know. But yeah. Marcus says, hey, Mo, I'm late. What's the news today? Whew, you missed all the news, my friend. But don't worry. I'll be putting chapters once this podcast is done, and then you can just go back and watch the bits of news if you want to skip through all the discussion. And let's do the last bit of comment, and then we'll end this. But Mahmoud says, at this point, I think we should change the name of FC Barcelona to FC Drama. Yeah, it wouldn't be too far-fetched, right? Anyways, that is all the news, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in, for your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, your generous donations. I will be uploading another video after this one, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.